Gee, we definitely headed in the right damn direction. We headed straight to the draft with a high first-round pick, and we got to get together and figure out who we going to take in this draft to help our team get better. Mike McCarthy is already foreshadowing. Listen, this season is gone. We already know what the rest of the season going to look like, and they about to play the Steelers, who are, by the way, undefeated in the Super Bowl contender. They headed in the right damn direction, and that's to the draft.
That's one as well played, and it's hard to argue. Next up, Russell Wilson to DK Metcalf. It's the most dangerous combination in the sport right now. Even Wilson is amazed at what DK is doing. Here's what he said.
I think I'm amazed every day by him. And that play he made where he caught the ball today and ran across the field and ran to the end zone. I mean, there's nobody faster in the world than him on the field. So, he's pretty special in that sense.
That's what Russell Wilson said. What does Swagoo say?
Yeah, you ever play with a Marvel superhero? Like, all heroes don't wear capes. Some of them wear shoulder pads. That's DK Metcalf. We were introduced to this place called Wakanda, where people have vibranium to keep them young forever and build people like DK Metcalf. That's who Russell Wilson's receiver is right now. So congratulations, Russ. You have a one-of-one guy that's ever played in the NFL, and he is not even from this world. He's from an outer worldly place based on the things that we're seeing him do, and he ain't slowing down. Gee, he only 10 years old.
He actually is only 23 years old. I said it yesterday. You name me a better receiver in the NFL right now than DK Metcalf. I'm waiting. All right, one more. Joe Burrow, proving he is every bit the number 1 pick in the draft. He's even surprising defenders with his athleticism. Here's what he said.
It feels good, but, most of them came after, some of those plays that I extended that they didn't really think I would be able to do that, and that's something that has kind of happened throughout my career. People don't really think of me as a guy that can wiggle in and out and extend plays and an athletic guy, but that's a big part of my game.
That's what Burrow said. What does Swagoo say?
So Joe basically saying, you know what, I'm that white dude that's standing in the corner at the rec center with all of these black dudes that's hooping, and somebody is eventually going to get to my name on this list that we signed in order to become a part of a 5, and we going to only go to a game of 12, and everybody going to look up, and Joe Burrow going to have 50 in the rec game. That's who Joe Burrow is. That's what he's saying. You don't know me until you know me. And not all of these defenders know what I know because I watched him at LSU. Everybody talks about Joe Burrow being a great quarterback. Joe Burrow is really a great athlete as well. So welcome to the party, rest of the NFL defenders. That's the guy standing in the corner at the rec that y'all don't want to pick that's going to get 50 in a 12-point game.
What do you think, Jeff?
It's the story of my life, man. Everybody looks at you, they're like, nah, we'll pick him last, right? They're looking for a dude. Nah. The fat white guy over there, we ain't bringing him out. I'm like, man, I'm all right. Can I get in the game, man? I'm going to body somebody. I got good D. Let me get some action, man. I feel you, Joe Burrow. And thank God Swagoo's keeping it real, man. I mean, that's real life, man. Everybody looked at me and was like, that guy, he's as round as he is tall. We ain't having him. You know what I mean? Come on, let Burrow have some athleticism.
Okay, outstanding, guys. We'll leave that there for the moment. Much more football as we go, of the NFL version. But let's get to the big story of the college week. After testing positive for coronavirus, Trevor Lawrence will miss his 2nd straight game this Saturday. It might be the biggest game of the year as they take on number 4 Notre Dame. They barely squeaked by Boston College this past Saturday, beating BC 34-28. I want to bring Greg McElroy and Paul Feinbaum in the conversation here this morning. Good morning, Paul. Greg, you were on the call for that game. So let's start there. With the kid at quarterback that they have, I won't say his name, you say it. With the kid they have at quarterback who is a 5-star and played really well in the second half, do you believe they can beat Notre Dame without Trevor Lawrence?
Well, DJ Uiagalelei is an excellent talent. He really has a remarkable arm. And people are like, who does he remind you of? He kind of reminds me of Jamarcus Russell. And people, wait, what? No, hang on a second. No, that's a compliment. Jamarcus Russell in college was absolutely ridiculous. Maybe the best thrower of the football I've ever seen. But against Notre Dame, he's going to have to be really good against pressure because they want to heat you up. So here's a good example, all right? Boston College bringing a little pressure off the edge, no problem. But look at DJ. Calmly, no problem. Knows he's got a guy unblocked. He's got Travis Etienne, the best running back in college football, out in the flats. Boom, throw it to him. He's out the gates and off to the races. Just really good poise there with the pressure. But how about this throw? This is that arm strength I was talking about. 3rd and 16, obvious passing situation. He sees safety rotation. So the safeties rotate from right to left, and there's a robber in the middle of the field, right on the paw print. Well, look at him look to his left, a little pump fake to get that safety on the paw print to move to his left, and he throws it right in between them. My goodness, a really tight window there to Amari Rodgers across the middle with a ton of velocity. How about 4th and 1? Critical down and distance in the game. A lot of young quarterbacks, they wouldn't have the poise to read this. The end man on the line of scrimmage crashes down. He sees it, no problem, very calmly pulls it. Little zone read action, and he takes it around the edge and actually ends up going to the house. And at 6'4", 250 pounds, that's a load moving pretty well for a guy his size. So I actually think he has a ton of talent. And will he show the maturity and poise to go on the road and win against a top-tier team like Notre Dame? That's what we're anxious to find out. But I happen to think he can do it.
If he can do it is one thing, will do it is another. Paul, who wins that game Saturday?
I think Clemson's going to win with DJ Ungalaye. Anyway, I've got about 15 places in my house written down phonetically, and I blew it. But I think they have enough. I'm a little concerned about their defense, though, Greeny. And Greg saw the game a little bit better than I did the other day, but they seem like they went to sleep for a while in the first half. But Clemson has been there so many times before, and even without Trevor Lawrence, I think they can. Now, one more thing. Even if they don't win the game, I still don't think it's the end of the world. I think they have a path back to the playoff by playing Notre Dame again in the ACC championship game.
Let's make it clear what you're talking about there, Paul, that if they lose this game, and let's say it isn't 50-0, a blowout might change the math.
Right.
But if they lose a close game without Trevor Lawrence, who everyone considers to be the best player in the country, and then they wind up in the ACC title game otherwise unbeaten, and they avenge that loss against Notre Dame, you believe they get into the playoff anyway?
I think they do. And it's hard to wrap your arms around the fact that Notre Dame is in the ACC this year, but they are. And they got in because they have nowhere else to go. But so it's really possible. And I think this committee will look at Trevor Lawrence as an injury, COVID or not. That's an injury, and they will factor that in. Now, again, Clemson does not need to be blown out here. But if it's a reasonably close game, and I think it will be, then if both teams run the table, now they need Notre Dame to help them. They need an undefeated Notre Dame at the end of the season, and they obviously can only have one loss. But and again, it all depends on the circumstance. But thank goodness for the ACC and for everyone else, the Big 12 did its usual choke job by Oklahoma State getting out of the way. That conference is long gone. The Pac-12 is seriously challenged because of the truncated season. So yes, there is clearly a path for Clemson with a loss.
And possibly Notre Dame as well. We talked about it last week, and Paul is sticking to his guns. Clemson and Notre Dame could both wind up in the college football playoff. Guys, thank you. We'll leave it there for the moment. And I'll remind you, the Pac-12 season does kick off this weekend, Saturday night on ABC. Number 12, Oregon hosting Stanford. You'll see it Saturday night, primetime on ABC, and you can watch on the ESPN app. All right, coming up, who would have expected the Giants